What's up guys, Everything Apple Pro here, and I've been waiting an entire year to make this video. I'm going to be comparing every single model that was ever made of the iPhone from the beginning to where we're at now. I want to compare the speed, see how much progress Apple really has made, and not only that, also the speakers, the cameras, the Wi-Fi, just to look back and see how far we've come. So this dinosaur is where it all began. This is Steve Jobs' vision brought to life, and because of this, we have the iPhone 6s now. But later came the iPhone 3G. It was a slightly revamped design, although the internals were mostly the same. It performed a little bit better and it ran some other new software. Then came the slightly faster 3GS with video recording and hey, a compass. If Apple released these kind of upgrades nowadays, people would collectively lose their. Then came the iPhone 4 with its beautiful Retina display. It was unlike anything on the market, and this thing truly was a revolutionary device. Do you guys remember when it got leaked? It was a pretty big deal. And then the 4S, a device that's currently even supported on iOS 9.0.1, which is unbelievable. Still does pretty well for its age. And finally, a larger display on an iPhone, something that Steve Jobs approved on himself, but it just took so long to get here. It was absolutely beautiful. The 5C was a cheaper version of the iPhone 5, aimed at people that couldn't really afford a 5S, which was also released at the same time. And the 5S was an incredibly fast device even to this day. It was the first iPhone to introduce Touch ID and a gold color. And the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus, which were the first true larger devices. And finally the iPhone 6s and 6s Plus, which are the fastest to date. There's nothing better, a little bit thicker, but beautiful, beautiful devices. So with all of these guys lined up, let's see really how far Apple has come in 9 years. So let's get these guys powered on and how satisfying. So let's perform some tests, and these are sometimes unbelievable because sometimes I can't understand how I lived with such a slow phone. It really puts things into perspective. Let's start off with a startup test. Alright, so I've got these all connected to the same power bank. They're all powered off, and just as soon as I flip the switch, these guys will all turn on in a synchronized fashion, and this is the first year I've done it with this mechanism. I've had to have so many people help me with this before, but let's go ahead and see how these stack up in terms of a boot up test. In 3, 2, 1. And there they go. So every single device has been updated and restored to the latest firmware. Of course, not all of these run the same firmware, so things are going to be a little bit different. Some of these don't have the newest and greatest features to load. Alright, so here are the results. Of course, the iPhone 6s comes in at number 1, then the iPhone 6s Plus, then the iPhone 6, and 6 Plus, closely followed by the 5S. Of course, the biggest, fastest devices started up first. So who comes in to take the next spot? Well, logically, you would expect the 5 or 5C, but nope. The iPhone 2G comes in to take number 6, and then the iPhone 5 and 5C, followed by the 3GS, and then eventually the iPhone 4 comes in on iOS 7.1.2, and the 3G on iOS 4.2.1, and lastly the 4S on iOS 9. Maybe it wasn't such a good idea to put iOS 9 on the 4S with just that measly 512 megabytes of RAM. So from here, I decided to run a Geekbench. It'll show us a steady progression in terms of actual numbers, and would you look at that? The iPhone 6s is 18 times more powerful than the 2G in a span of 9 years. So we've come quite a bit, from 128 megabytes to 2 gigabytes of RAM on the 6s and 6s Plus. So this is progress right here. Sometimes we can't see it moving from a 6 to a 6s or a 5 to 5s. You know, it's just not as apparent, but when you look back, this is the timeline. This is where we started. I also ran a Wi-Fi speed test, and the progression here is clear as well. As technologies advanced, so did Wi-Fi speeds. I would personally rather not have internet at all than suffer with slow internet speeds like the 3G. I don't understand how people could live with that back in the day. Now here's an HTML5 browser compatibility score, so the higher the number, the better experience you're going to have browsing. And we ran some tests doing synchronized app launching and Safari browsing, but let me tell you, the more devices I get, the harder it is to do, so I couldn't really get any consistent results there. Imagine waking up to that every single day. So I actually wanted to do a couple other tests in this video, actually to test the speakers and the camera. So starting with the speakers, the decibel output, I've actually bought a meter. So I'm going to be measuring the same tone on every single speaker to see how loud it can get and if the speakers got quieter or louder over time. So the results, which are in decibels by the way, taken about an inch from the speaker, steadily progressing. The 6S and 6S Plus have the best speakers, but I could see a healthy progression through all of them. And this is the camera comparison. It really impressed me just looking back, and these are all in low light conditions. Just look at the vividness of the photo and the noise. It gradually gets better and better and better. And the 6S and 6S Plus just blew me away. This thing looks so good, so sharp. Absolutely lovely. So I'm very impressed with the cameras, but as a whole, all of these devices have gone through so much change to bring us what we have right now, the 6S and 6S Plus. We have the fastest because other people had to go through the slowest, and things are just going to get better and better. This video next year is just going to get harder and harder as usual, but guys, I do hope you enjoyed this video. I tried very hard to make it work, so I would appreciate if you guys did throw me a like. It helps very much. Be sure to check out some of the other videos on my channel and subscribe for many more great videos. Have a great day. Enjoy your current iPhone wherever you're at. Peace.